Welcome and welcome to another episode of the Visionary Introverted Woman Show. And you are watching a series on the abundance experience. So I'm very glad to be coming to you on a Monday in June where I'm celebrating a Jubilee year of my life. And I wanted to spend the time doing this abundance experience with you. So I want to welcome you to this series. And so far, we have done two two different videos, one on attraction and the other on belief. And the idea is to build up the composition of the word abundance and to bring different insights on how you can achieve an overflow of abundance in your life. Today, we're carrying on with that breaking down of the composition, and we'll be talking about the U equals understand and the N equals nurture. Let me start by introducing myself. For those that don't know me, my name is Patience Ogumbono, and I'm the host of the Visionary Introverted Woman Show. As you guessed it, I am introverted. I'm also visionary, multi passionate. I am a courageous leader and an entrepreneur. And this show is all about bringing you rich conversations on topics that will help you leverage your introvert strengths. And I share actionable strategies for success in life, business, and career. Basically, the whole idea behind the show is to help you and give you inspiration so that you can go out there and create impactful presence in your world, build up your introverted strengths in such a way that you can position yourself in whatever marketplace you find yourself. And as a result of that, you're thriving and really delivering and profiting from your gifts and talents. So if you have a question, if you have anything that you want us to discuss, feel free to get in touch with me and share your idea with me, and I'll be glad to bring it on the show. And also for this series, my hope is that I'll bring in one or two people to come and have same conversations with you on one or two of the topics before the whole series is over. Anyhow, welcome again. So, like I said, today we're talking about uh, understand and nurture. Let's start by learning what understanding is. And also, just be aware, I might be looking away from the screen. All in all, the intention is to make sure that I share as many insights as possible during our time together. So let's talk about understanding. One of the things that I love in life is reading books. I love to read books. And over time from childhood, I used to save my money while maybe people would buy makeup and things like that. I bought books. But interestingly, I bought romantic books. And my mom used to say, Patience, these romantic books put your head in the cloud. So why don't you read other kind of books? The truth is, yeah, I did read my school books. And especially, I loved reading about biology. Again, see where I'm going. Okay. Jokes apart, books help you in terms of learning and keeps that overflow of shifting your mindset and growing so that you can create abundance in your life. That's the way I see it. So, why am I talking about books? Because, in terms of understanding, one of the key places I started thinking about deeply more about understanding was when I read a book by Steve Covey. So, Steve Covey wrote a book which totally was one of my first books that I read because I really started to think about who I am as a person and what I wanted to bring to the world. And it's called The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. By the way, when you join me, please feel free to comment, feel free to share your views. I would love to hear them. And let's have a bit of an interactive session. So basically, reading that book, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, he said something about understanding. And he said, seek to understand rather than be understood. So what he was trying to say there was effectively, you should learn to listen to people and gain their perspective. And in so doing, you are expanding your understanding of the world. And hi, BC, thanks for joining me. And hi, Deborah, thanks for joining me. So basically, you're expanding your understanding of the world. because you're seeking to understand rather than be understood. Interestingly, that made such a difference in my life because I was somebody who, maybe because of introversion, but more so, I felt like I wasn't focusing a lot on other people's needs enough the way I wanted to deep down inside. So I started to, see the world differently. But then as the years went by, I started to think about the fact that, yes, you try to understand people, but what about yourself? Are you understanding yourself enough? And if you don't understand yourself, can you truly understand other people and sympathize and empathize with them? I started thinking about that because if you don't understand yourself, you can also trip yourself over, sabotaging yourself, and you don't know what it is that you're doing that is sabotaging you in your life. When I thought about that as well, I began to look deeper at that saying, seek to understand rather than be understood. But one thing that stood out for me was this proverbial saying that says, take the log out of your own eye so that you can see the speck in another person's eye. So if you're kind of doing it backwards, you need to consider that you cannot really see other people if you're not seeing yourself. Because honestly, can you give what you don't have? That's the way I started to look at it. And because I started to look at it like that, I began to say, what really is understanding? What do I need to do to be more understanding? So basically, when you don't remove the log from your own eye, it blocks you, it sabotages you, it trips you over. Yeah, indeed. Deborah, you're right. So it trips you over, it sabotages you, it stops you from really working at the things that you need to work out within yourself to be able to help others. Consequently, what happens is you might find yourself being inauthentic in your dealings with people because somehow you might be thinking, oh, maybe there are things that are not right and I need to fix them. Hey ho, not a problem. Let me just focus on other people. And so what happens? You try to hide your weaknesses. But if you're somebody who seeks to understand yourself, what you do eventually is you reveal your weaknesses to yourself, you come to appreciate them and accept them. What are some definitions as well of when you use the word understand? To understand is to make clear, and that might be in your communications, in your interactions. And also, to understand is wisdom, to be wise in words and actions. So when you understand life, you don't sweat the small stuff. I've got a small mini book that I love, and it's called "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff." And it's really, for me, that's a book of wisdom because we jump around and we spend all our time wasting it on little things that don't matter in life. Yeah. And so for me, especially the older I get, I believe that you should get wiser. So another word for understand is wisdom. Another word is clarity. To have clarity about something or someone, and that someone can be you. It can be you. Another word that I love that represents understand is to appreciate. And really, that is very, very important to appreciate yourself or appreciate your potential. And by understanding yourself, you can get to appreciate your potential. From a business perspective, they always say, know your client, try to understand your clients, try to recognize who your ideal client is. Whereas that is great actually, because that is, you're trying to understand, you're trying to know their pain points, you're trying to know their problems. But how about you? Are you the ideal person to help that client? Are you the ideal person? Do you know what problems you want to solve? Do you know and understand the impact that you bring to the world? Is it clear to you how you can enhance your strengths and your power to continue to create the difference that you want to create? Because once you know yourself, you'll actually it's easier to know the kind of people you want to work with and why you want to work with them. That becomes all important as well. For me, even when it came to the career situation, understanding myself made all the difference in my career choices. I started to say no to the things that didn't align with who I wanted to be. And eventually that led me to realize that I'm not a stability seeker, I'm a freedom seeker. That means that if I'm in a place where there is no growth for me and expansion, and I've already said to you in the beginning in my introduction that I'm multi passionate. And if that is you, the challenge for people would be to keep you engaged long enough in focusing on just one thing. And in most workplaces, not focusing on one thing can cause you a lot of issues. So I realized that entrepreneurship gives me that expansion to do as many things as I want to do and to express my power and my impact in different ways as a multi-passionate person and multi-talented in many ways as well, which is a blessing and also a challenge. So yeah, so what are the as usual, what are the I want to share with you three things that you can take away. So what are the three benefits of increasing your understanding? Here they are. Very important that you increase your understanding, because when you increase your understanding, you increase the abundant flow of positives in your life. By that I mean, understanding yourself, you will be able to know what are the things that you need to change and what are the good things that you need to enhance. And because of that, you can increase the positives in your life coming from understanding. The second thing understanding does is that it helps you to increase your resilience. We all want to bounce back. We all want to have the capacity to thrive. And in order to do that, the more you increase your understanding of yourself, of other people, of things around you, the more you can increase your resilience. Then, the third reason why you need to increase your understanding is because when you know and nurture your strengths, you and overcome your weaknesses, you become unstoppable, right? And you create that flow of abundance in your life. And that nicely brings me to part two. Remember, I said we are talking about two words in the abundance composition today. And so we've talked about understanding. And now we want to talk about nurturing. Because once you understand things about yourself and understand more about what you need to be doing, then what do you need to do? You need to nurture yourself. Another person that I love so much is John Maxwell. And as many of you know, I'm a John Maxwell uh, a coach, trained coach. And, as a business and leadership coach that trained originally with the John Maxwell team. And so I love all the sayings of John Maxwell. And one of the best books I have ever read from him is The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. I totally recommend that. And in there, he simply says, when you know yourself, you can grow yourself. Hence, the first step is understanding. And the second then is growing yourself and nurturing yourself. That's one of the biggest purposes of understanding yourself. Because think about it. If a farmer is trying to fertilize an apple with what is used to fertilize spinach, guess what's going to happen? The apple is either going to die or just never grow. It's never going to get a harvest of apples. So if you want to get a harvest of apples, you're going to have to fertilize apples with what apples require to grow. So that is why you have to understand yourself. Because when you understand yourself, you can nurture yourself to grow yourself. And when you grow yourself, you have more abundance that you can give to others. And the way you nurture yourself as well, that's the way you will nurture other people. Nurturing yourself creates capability for you to be able to be, do, and have more. The word nurture also means to develop, yeah, and to nourish, to advance, to cultivate, and encourage. And those very great words to kind of tune into and really, really take in. So in my 30s, I remember that I really, I came to the UK in my 20s, and, I was just figuring out life. I got married, I had a child, and then carried on, with the journey of trying to figure out parenting, trying to figure out who I am as a wife, trying to figure out a career path, trying to figure out adjusting to a new place, new people without any family. That was challenging. By the time I got to my 30s, as a blessing, God gave me another child. So I remember wheeling my daughter in her pushchair in the town center one day because she was still young and I was still, nursing her. And I caught my image on the glass on one of the stores. Oh, wow. I thought, is that how I look? For the first time in my life, it hit me. Wow, I'm the heaviest I've ever been. I looked in the mirror every day. I lived with myself every day. If you're too close, you can't really have perspective and see. Maybe because I don't know what it is, but maybe it was time. And something in me just snapped, and I was like, no, it's not acceptable for me to look like this, especially because I think I can actually feel it in every part of my body. I'm a young lady in my 30s, and really, this also represents something within me that is not right. I wheeled my daughter into a shop where they where they were doing weight loss programs then, and basically I spoke to them. No matter what they said, I was ready, and I just spent all I came back home. I told my husband, this is what I want to do, and he said, well, you've always been good at saving money. And I said, yes, and I think this is where my savings should go. This is a rainy day for me. I can't keep living like this. And so I went ahead and I did a lot of the program. And within 6 months, I lost 3 stone. I completely became unrecognizable. But I didn't take pictures. I didn't celebrate it. I wasn't pleased about it. It was just another accomplishment, another performance. And it just didn't feel right. Aside that, after I was in that process, it kind of gave me more confidence. Yeah. And that confidence led to me, now I'm not looking like this big person trying to explain myself, having a baby or whatever. Um, I am not saying people who are big are not confident. I'm just saying for me, I just didn't feel it added a separate layer. And so I was thinking, I've done all this. I look back now, I hardly have any pictures. And even during that period, I won Slimmer of the Month, you know, once. And I was asked to now give advice to other people. I didn't feel good about myself. I just thought, well, it was hard work. I've done it. I didn't celebrate myself. And then, fortunately for me, I then got a job as well. And when I now got my job, I was excited as well because now I can move on and start working. But I wasn't very proud of myself. Fortunately for me, that was the first time I encountered coaching. And finding coaches around me at the time in the organization, they helped me realize one thing. It wasn't the outward appearance and all the things I was doing, it was the inside. I wasn't feeling good inside. I had wounds that weren't healed. I had limiting beliefs that were holding me back. I had an identity crisis within that was going on. I was struggling with the fact that being introverted, I couldn't be as loud and proud and whatever like other people. So the question is, I wasn't loving myself. I was actually just doing, getting myself to be doing and more doing. I'm going somewhere with this story. So when I realized that I didn't love myself, I also realized that because of that, I didn't necessarily believe in myself. And I didn't believe that other people loved me or that I was lovable. And despite all of these achievements, real big, I was always downplaying it. Oh, is it that thing? It's not a big deal. Everybody else does it. Oh, is it this dress? Well, it's look good. Everybody else wears a nice dress. So there's no need for giving me compliments, and all those kind of things, I would say. But when I now encountered coaching, I was able to recognize that unless I loved myself, and unless I accepted that I was lovable, I wouldn't be able to nurture myself to flow the way I wanted to flow, or to appreciate the amount of achievements I was having and the potential that I had to be, do, and have more. And because am also not loving myself, I wouldn't be projecting lovability to other people, if there's a word like that, right? So, and because, yes, I've said it before and I say it again, you cannot give what you don't have. People say, oh, yeah, but you can be in pain and still help others with pain. Agreed to a certain extent. But to what level are you really going to be able to help them? Because once you are more powerful, you can help them even more, right? So that's the key, is that I needed to fill up my tank with the love I wanted to give. I needed to fill up my tank with the confidence I wanted to give. I needed to fill up my tank with the abilities that I wanted other people to get as a result of either working with me or being around me. Yeah. So definitely, this was all very important. So basically, you need to learn to nurture what is within. And you need to learn that if there is a block or barrier to nurturing yourself, then you've got to remove that. Otherwise, what I figured out at that time was that I was walking around with a mask, and that mask smiled outside to others, and then on the inside, behind closed doors, wept for herself. So that mask needed to be taken off. I needed to love myself true into my breakthroughs. I needed to love myself true into abundance. I also operated, I realized, from a scarcity mindset, because at the time you would have smiling at others, but feeling even more jealous, feeling more envious, like they are really living it up and I'm not. And and I was using the fact that, well, I'm not like them, I'm not loud, I'm not this, I'm not that. But until I recognize that there are things within me, yes, they are not like any other person that I could see around me, but if I nurtured what is within, I could become just as great, and I could celebrate. So that's what are the three ways that you could then look at yourself and say, I'm not nurturing myself enough. How am I going to nurture myself? First and foremost, obviously, you have had to understand yourself, like you said in the beginning. So now, how do you nurture yourself based on that understanding? You now know yourself. How do you grow yourself? How do you grow yourself to create expansion? So you acknowledge, accept, and deeply love yourself. Yeah, self care and self love is not selfish, it is actually selfless. Because when you love yourself, you will recognize and empathize with other people and their weaknesses, just like you have yours. But you also recognize and celebrate other people's strength because you celebrate yours. And it's just easy to give what you already have. And you are able to give from an overflow, not from an empty cup. You're giving from an overflow of what you have already digested. So the first thing is to acknowledge, accept, and deeply love yourself. The second thing is to know, develop, and live by your values. Find the right ones, the right values that enhance your life and attract good into your life. So there are things that I call values, your non-negotiables. And if you continue to go against your values, it will make it hard for you to love yourself. And that then means that you're not nurturing yourself. And consequently, because you're not nurturing yourself, you cannot get abundance flowing through your life. The third one is to protect your self image. And how do you protect your self image? You protect your self image by boundaries. You teach other people how to love you and help you nurture abundance in your life. That's what boundaries is about. You teach other people how to love, to appreciate, to respect you, and to nurture the abundance that you want to protect to give to others. So that is it. That is what I want to share today on the abundance experience around um, understanding and around nurturing. So we said that, just so we can recap before finishing, we said that the three ways that you can uh, gain increased understanding is to increase the abundant flow of positives in your life, and also to recognize that understanding leads to increasing your resilience. And understanding helps you to know and nurture your strengths and overcome your weaknesses. Then, when you know and you want to nurture, what are the three ways that you can nurture? Is to acknowledge, accept, and deeply love yourself. The next one is to develop, is to know and develop your values and live by those values. The right ones make a difference to your life. And the third one is to protect your self image by boundaries. And these boundaries help you to teach people how to love, respect, and appreciate who you are. And in so doing, they protect the abundance in your life so that you can give abundance away. So I want to thank those who joined me live. I've had a great time, and thank you for all the comments that you've made so far. Feel free to be more abundant in your mindset by sharing the link to this video with other people who you know would would be blessed and will gain a lot from listening to it. And if you want to follow the series seamlessly, you can connect on my YouTube channel. Yeah, you can connect on my YouTube channel, and I will put a link in the comments. Just to let you know as well that I'm bringing out a journal for introverted female entrepreneurs. It's titled Win Your Day in 15 Minutes or Less. It's a brilliant, brilliant journal. Some of these things are contained within it to help you to practice how to develop abundance on a daily basis. So thank you so much for joining me. Most especially, thank you, Deborah, for taking the time. It's 7:30. That's an abundance mindset. So thank you for the overflow of love for joining me. And I hope that you get the overflow of love back. Wishing everybody a wonderful day. The next time I'll be on again is on Friday. And if you are on YouTube, even if you miss it, if you've subscribed to my channel, you get notified and you'll be able to join me, or you'll be able to watch a replay. Either way, let me know. Did this add value to you? Add value to me by letting me know and commenting to let me know what value is added to you. Take care and God bless.